an extraordinary guest joining us this very morning, a repeat guest, a regular supporter of show business on
hoping
Spice
that
FM,
someone can
and the wonderful, magical Mr. Mark Patton will be joining us later on this morning. Mark, for those of you who are aware, is the Director of Education. He's responsible for education in Newcastle and Newcastle City Council.
I feel as if, hey, there we go. Good morning from Riyadh. Assalamu alaikum.
Morning. Walaikum assalam. Good morning, Ammar. How you doing?
Yeah, great. I'm here.
Look at the attire, man.
Just to the Princess Modi Mosque is where I've been.
All right.
So and then going to hang out with the sheikhs.
Really? Well, you look like one.
Yeah, it's all happening here. Jalf,
Yeah.
This is the place to be.
Yeah. And has it changed a lot from the last? Well, it's probably quite a short time, but are you in the center of Riyadh or on the outskirts, or where are you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm staying in the same hotel. So actually, show my white hair. Look how white my hair is. It's been like that for 16 since I was 16. So
Really?
Yeah, I've had. That's why I was wearing hair gel. I've had white hair since I was 16.
What's hair gel?
Hair gel.
Oh, all right, okay. I thought you said air gel.
Yeah, it's just it's the same without an H. Anyway, good morning, listeners and viewers. Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to Ammar and
Jalf.
Live on our weekly radio show here on Spice FM. Sorry.
Each week we'll try and bring some views, news, and one or two clues from the business world.
Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities.
And we'll be talking shop quite literally, not just corner shops. Whether you're looking to start a business, have an existing business, or you just want to talk business, we can help.
We can help. When we do help, is what we do. Anyway, I'll do a top tip on how to get dressed in Saudi dress. Is what I'll do. Trying to get it right. Anyway, there we go. Is what we do. Took the topi off underneath it. Yeah. So has it changed? Yes. It's they build things like metro centers. Right. They build things like a metro center in 8 months.
Mm-hmm. It's incredible.
The breadth and depth of activity here is just crazy. But no, it's I'm certainly feeling it a little bit. I'm tired, and so left Newcastle on Wednesday on the Emirates flight, and there's still work going on at Newcastle Airport, so it was like a bit of a shame, but because I was intending to do some work, but the Emirates flights, it's good. It's I flew into Dubai, and my transfer this time was an hour, so it was like quite scary, running from one place to another, and then got told I need to jump on a train between the terminal, and then got here at about 2 a.m.
Okay.
Yesterday morning at the airport. By the time I got to the hotel, sort of got sorted, it was like 4 a.m. And then yesterday morning, got up, and that was it. It was like straight into meetings. Went to a place called The Garage, and it's where all the techies hang out. It's
right.
The biggest, like coolest tech space, accelerator, incubator. It's the biggest one in the Middle East. But you've got the Apple run the programs there, Amazon, Facebook, they're all sort of there. And and the support that you get from the government itself and technology supporters here is just crazy. So looking to set up a space there, and then I went to Big Five Construction, which was the biggest construction event, and every anyone involved in construction was there. And then went for dinner, and that was, by the time it got sorted, it was midnight last night, and then couldn't sleep because I've been drinking coffee, and I don't
And
normally
where did you
drink
go for
coffee.
dinner, Ammar? What kind of a restaurant?
Oh, the restaurant, the food out here is like amazing.
So what kind of a restaurant was it that you went to?
Oh, we went to a Lebanese one last night,
All right,
and
okay.
then a coffee shop.
So is that big in Saudi, Lebanese restaurants?
No, everything is like all of the restaurants. They've got steakhouses, they've got burgers, they've got the very best of everything. And the thing with Saudi is it feels really authentic.
Mm-hmm.
So, going to Dubai over the years, Dubai is a great place, don't get me wrong. It's it's super cool and it's got the best of everything. But Dubai still feels a bit plastic, as in
Yeah.
it's just popped up.
Yeah.
You
So from the outside, then, is it fair to say that you have the old Riyadh, which obviously is built a bit of a nucleus, and you've got the neighborhoods, the population, the people, and there's going to be kind of meat around that particular social structure, if you want to call it that. So then you still have a bit of the soul of the old city.
Yeah, I mean, so the mosque that I just went to there, as I was driving past it, to it, as I was driving to it, I'm trying to find the picture. There was almost like the side of I wouldn't say mountain, but like imagine a quarry, like a big stone where they're still working on the stone. And I don't know how much you can see that. There's a bit of a glare there.
Yeah, I can see some of it. Okay, yeah, I get it.
You can see that, right?
So that's part of the city. They would never like cut the quarries up and flatten the quarries and ABC.
Well, they're in the middle of doing a bit of that. It was just,
Okay.
I just found it peculiar. But the suburbs, the areas, I mean, across the road from me is Nakheel Mall. So it's and everything is built to an incredible standard, but it's still in, as you say, the houses are still here. There's the Arab nation, and obviously the UAE is Arabs. Everyone in the Middle East is classed as Arab, but Saudi has been developing for a very, very long time. So it's got universities, everyone got free education. Everyone went to the best universities here. So the research and the development. So you've got skyscrapers that have been here for a while. You've got the financial district, which is a bit like Wall Street. So it's got, but it's better, and it's bigger, and it's as in everything is the best of what you can get, but it doesn't feel as if it's just popped up. So I mean, the biggest challenge, like anywhere in the world, is traffic, getting around. The actual metro is still, should have launched last year. It hasn't, and they still need to complete some stations and things like that. Public transport's not a big thing here. There's no trains in between the country. The size of Saudi, Jalf, I don't know if you've ever
big, isn't it?
considered the size. it's the 13th biggest country in the world, right?
Really?
So to put that into context, you know, world. So to put that into context, if we if I
Well, you would have like Russia, China, India. It's probably the biggest three. I would have thought. Then probably got Brazil, Canada.
So if I was to just very briefly, and obviously apologies for our listeners, but if I just briefly share my screen, right? Can you see that?
Yeah.
So if you look at Saudi, it's like all of that space, right?
Huge.
So it's bigger than Egypt, bigger, bigger than Sudan. It's apparently the same size as is it Western Europe or Eastern Europe? Is what it is. So if you look at it on a map,
Big old country, isn't it?
It's what?
A big old country.
Oh,
I
it's
didn't realize
huge.
it was bigger than Egypt.
Yeah, it's huge. But Egypt's big.
Wow.
So it takes a long time to get from one side to the other. This time I'm just in Riyadh. And because I'm in Riyadh, it makes things I can get into a bit more detail now and develop the relationships and the partnerships that I started to develop. The first time I came, I was a bit of a tourist. That's what I was. Now I feel more like a visitor, or whatever the next stage is after a tourist. And then, next time, wife and that's it, settled, isn't it?
Be a Saudi citizen.
Yeah, that's the thing. So no, it's good. It's an exciting place to be because of how much is going on here. And there is so much going on here. So anyway, let's check in with our show. Jalf football. Let's start off with football.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I mean, our team put us through so much pain against Blackburn in the FA Cup. Went all the way to penalties. Eventually sealed it with the 10th. Well, Martin Dubravka saved the 10th penalty, and we managed to get into the next round with all that hope and all that ambition. And then all of a sudden, the draw was the worst possible draw that we could have had. Man City away, which was just heartbreaking and gave us so much anxiety because we were hoping to get a decent draw, maybe it's one at home, because we haven't had one home draw in the FA Cup at all. So and actually the Carabao Cup we had Man City at home, but it's been so hard our draws this season. So we're up against City, and I mean, it's going to be a miracle if we were able to get through and beat them, because there's such a the world's best team really at the moment. So there was that for us. The other big news in football was the achievement of Liverpool beating Chelsea and doing it with kids. About 4 or 5 kids came on, all 18, 19-year-olds, and they beat, as Gary Neville put it, the billionaires bottle club Chelsea. So that was the other big news from last week. So we just have to really see. Our season was really hanging in the balance, and it was hanging on hopefully a good cup run. But we'll just have to see where we are in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it's sad and scary, is what it is.
Yeah,
and
unfortunately,
talk about being unlucky.
Yeah, so unlucky. And the thing is, if Man City had lots of other games in and around that time, it might have helped us, but they don't, because it's the last game before the international break, and they don't have a midweek game neither. So they're going to be like fully ready. The team's going to be fully ready. So it's going to be difficult. But Ammar, I guess I don't suppose in Saudi you get a feel for Newcastle United at all, do you? or is there some things, little things there, or
What do you mean by that?
as in obviously owning Newcastle, you don't see a presence of Newcastle United in the airports or anything like that?
So, well, there was a couple of companies here from the Northeast who had Newcastle United at the exhibition yesterday.
Okay.
I've brought quite a lot of Newcastle United memorabilia. People are aware of and understand
Yeah.
Newcastle United, but does Newcastle United feature anywhere? Not publicly, not in
Yeah.
a particular way.
Yeah.
But everyone's aware. I mean, the one thing that they're good at here is if anything's owned by PIF, the Public Investment Fund, it's part of the royal family. It's a really big deal, and you know, one of the reasons I'm here is because of the opportunities between the Northeast and Newcastle and the investment that's going to come in, and potentially it'll be bigger than Manchester, is the suggestion. And there's a big focus between Newcastle, Northeast, and here.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's just such a shame from a football context, the financial fair play is really restricting the hands of what PIF can do. If you imagine that wasn't in place, we would have been progressed a lot quicker. But even so, I think they've taken the right path in terms of the strategy by not getting, you know, the big names, and instead getting the right characters, which is what they've done. But it would have been nice if they could flex the muscles a little bit more, because when we had a crisis, I'm sure they would have ordinarily got one or two more players to help Eddie Howe out, but they weren't able to do so. But that's unfortunately is what it is. So I'm sure they will come up with a strategy to do the best under the restrictions that they have.
Yeah, well, and talking to the commercial director at Newcastle, you know, what they need to do is obviously look at ticket sales, but also then partnerships and other financial opportunities, you know, through partnerships. So their arrangement with Phoenix and things like that. Who else can they tie in with and generate income through other means, including food and things like that.
Well, they've got the fan zone coming up, haven't they? Which is going to be a really big deal for you. I think that's going to generate them a lot of revenue, a lot of income, and it's going to be brilliant as far as when we want to watch away games, Ammar. Ordinarily, you would go to one of the pubs or somewhere where there's a TV, but now there would be a designated place for everyone that would want to go there, because I would want to go to the fan zone to experience the football with your fellow supporters and stuff.
Without a doubt. And actually, if you think about Wembley and things like that.
But I can't hear you at the moment. Yeah.
You can't hear me?
I can now. There was you had a little
saying my internet connection is unstable. Let me close some things down. Let me close. Let's see what is what's killing my computer. Interesting.
So yeah, I think you mentioned just on that. Obviously, Sella are going to be heavily involved in the fan park, the fan zone, which is probably going to be a superior version of Box Park at Wembley, because obviously when these guys get their hands on something, I'm pretty sure they will really show the nation how it's done, and I'm pretty sure that a fan zone will be pretty spectacular, and they'll probably look at it and say that yes, we want to create the best fan experience in the whole of the country in a fan zone.
Yeah, no, they will, and that's what Sella do, is events, and you know, and that's the thing. So PIF, when they invest, the whole Newcastle investment was based on a financial return, and some of the things that they've made reference to is, if you look at what Chelsea's worth, right, and they bought like Newcastle United for £350 million, it's like, They see it as a commercial opportunity, but also they then see a bigger presence, and there's an acceptance. So Newcastle fans naturally are now, there's pictures of Newcastle fans flying the Saudi flag. It's got the Gulmer on the front of it, is what it is. So there's the cultural elements to this, and what they're creating here in Saudi is undoubtedly the biggest and the best experiences that there are. Tourism, the events that they're having here, they've had music events, boxing events, you name it. Like they've got the biggest golf event going on right now. Yeah, so they are, and why are they doing all of this? Because they're looking to the future. They want to create an economy here around all of these events, tourism, and such like. And they're already the capital of the Muslim world. So 1.6 billion people all want to come to Saudi, don't they? That in itself is a huge deal. So the likelihood is we will see flights from Newcastle, and that was part of the challenge. Is for me to come here. I've either got to go to London and worry about is the flight from Newcastle to London going to be disrupted, whereas the Emirates flight is full every single day.
Ammar, when do you think that's likely to be? I know you explained to me last time about the logistics to make something like that happen. It's not as easy as what we may think.
Yeah, and it's not, and initially, wrongly, I thought that Newcastle Airport had some hesitancy, but when I'd spoken to Newcastle Airport, they were like, "Oh no, absolutely not. We want to grow our carrier routes." They've got like 100 flights out to Newcastle. They want to. They're happy. They could double that. Is what they could, and then it would be a great position to be in, to sort of go where at capacity. So as to when, it's probably, I don't think it would be a national carrier. So I don't think it'll be like Saudi. The likelihood is it'll be a regional carrier.
What, to go from Newcastle to Saudi?
Yeah, it'll be a regional. It'll be a regional Saudi carrier.
So why wouldn't it be like Saudia? The airlines that they promote at St. James's Park.
So one of the reasons why it potentially wouldn't be Saudi Air is because they've already got their routes, and because it's the national airline, it also needs to consider its routes in and out of Saudi. So let's see. I mean, the conversations are happening. I know that for it within Saudi itself, and it might be better for us to have a smaller airline. Like
I think
when I'm talking about smaller airlines, I'm talking about more broadly a smaller airline here in Saudi is probably the equivalent of British Airways in the UK, right? is what there is. Anyway, I've got this presentation that Elizabeth has kindly pulled together, and I need to turn on my screen and do some magic on my computer. How's business, Jalf? How's Newcastle City Centre?
Things are okay. I think the city centre is just very disruptive at the moment with all the roadworks and everything that's going on. I think it's just making it difficult. I think people are really just don't want to make the extra effort to get into the city centre because it's so difficult, especially around Grey Street, Pilgrim Street area. I mean, it's the roadworks have just decimated everything. Everything, they're doing everything at the same time. No one can come and park anywhere. So I don't really know, what their actual plans are, but for me, it's just seems as though that they're making it more and more difficult for people to get into the city centre, which is, as a operator in the city centre, I'm very much against that, and I feel an impact on business, and it's sad that that's happening. So I think that's the thing that we feel the most, but still business is still okay. But I think leisure and hospitality and retail, I personally feel it's going through a little bit of a dip as I'm walking around the city and seeing a lot of people. They're not booming. It's obviously a recession, and I feel that I thought that was saying slow business there. I thought, oh yeah, you're about to talk about the economy slowing down or something. I do feel, Ammar, that the economy is slowing down a tad, definitely.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. And I suppose the fact that there is a recession going on, the likelihood is we're going to feel that a little bit more, aren't we? Is what we're going to do. So the question then becomes, who is it going to impact and how? We're coming on to the headlines. So Lee Anderson, Jalf, did you follow him and his?
Lee Anderson.
Yeah, so he was the MP who said Sadiq Khan was controlled by extremists, and so the mayor of London had overcome to extreme Islam and was being controlled.
I don't think it's extreme Islam. I think he's controlled by possibly extreme Zionists. Maybe he got a bit.
Well,
he's very un-Islamic.
The fact was Lee Anderson was asked to stand down, was suspended by the Conservative Party, but ministers, interestingly, still refused to call Lee Anderson's comments Islamophobic. So there is a real challenge there. In Rochdale, there was a by-election, and George Galloway got elected.
Well, good on him. Good on him.
And on the ticket of Palestine.
Yeah, of course. Look,
it's quite sad to see what's going on now, to the extent where there was 100 people allegedly shot dead.
It wasn't allegedly. The UN Secretary General, he came out and said that if people have gone to get aid that was delivered to them and they're all huddled around the lorries or whatever because their kids haven't eaten for a week, and all of a sudden the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, they just come and bomb people whilst they're doing that. And the US Secretary General have come out and said it, but then our nation, the European nation, the EU, the Americans are not coming out and condemning anything like that. And I just don't understand the double standard of all of this. And I think the politics is just so horrible, because if that was the case where Vladimir Putin did something or it would be there on front pages of every single newspaper, every single mainstream media would be covering it. But you should call out, you know, when you're breaking the Geneva Convention and breaking all the laws, you should call it out as an equal standard for anybody doing it, because that's what justice is supposed to be about. And our countries who fight for justice and A, B, C, and D, and democracy and justice, I don't see why they're not calling out, because obviously they're supporting it. That's why they're not calling it out. And I think it's absolutely horrific, the policies that, you know, the powerful countries are adopting. I'm baffled by it all, and I feel it's very, very sad times for the world if we are allowing, you know, you know, when aid is delivered on a humanitarian exercise and they get shot and blown to pieces and no one can come out and stop it. It's absolutely shocking. So I don't really know how we're living in a society in 2024 that we're allowing something like this to go on.
Well, you know, what's particularly sad is the fact that the vast majority of people are resigned to the fact that we're all going to sit here. Everyone's already saying, "Oh well, you know, this is our gulag moment. This is our apartheid moment. This is our..." So throughout history, where people have sat and gone, "Oh my gosh, there was slavery going on. There was genocide going on. There was all of these, you know, these communities, this society killed that society, the Jewish community and Hitler and all of this that went on," and how, you know, there's annual memorable dates, there's memory of, there's statues, there's significant events to go, this will never and should never happen again. Yeah, everyone stood back.
Well, exactly. So why was the UN created? Why was the Geneva Convention created? Why was the Nuremberg trials and the Nuremberg codes that are there? But why were they all created if the international powers, they can't actually implement that if you want to have a say internationally, then why are we allowing this to happen when there's all the laws are in place for it not to happen? So those that are breaking the law, and the International Court of Justice have come out and insinuated that, although they weren't as categorical as what they should have been, but then no one can hold Israel accountable. And why is it that the Americans are still vetoing ceasefire proposals? It's crazy, isn't it? So we're gonna veto this ceasefire proposal to stop the death of innocent civilians. I mean, what on earth is that all about? It's baffling. It's shocking. It's totally shocking. So all for what? Political agendas? Because I've got an election coming up. This. Hey, it's like a crazy world that we live in, Ammar. It really, really is. And I really hope, I don't know what hope there is when the leaders we're not getting any hope from our leaders, because, you know, we've talked about this before. The leaders are the ones that should be inspiring us. We should be inspired by them to live our lives and look at them and, you know, think, oh my God, they are role models and A, B, C, and D. But is there a role? Do we want to follow the path of some of these leaders and the decisions that they make? I don't really think that's like good role models for anyone to go and preach and say, yeah, we want to be like this particular MP or be like this particular leader. It's sad, isn't it?
It's really sad. It's crazy is what it is. It's absolutely crazy. Anyway, let's have a look at I mean, just going back to the food. Have you tried Deep North, Jalf?
Deep
The donut. What is donut on Dean Street? Deep North.
On Dean Street, I've just been at Dean Street just now to pick up some croissants.
Right.
No, is it good? I'll have to try it.
Yeah, it's an artisan donut, and they've got investment, and they're growing, and there
Where is it
was a
on
big.
Dean? Street?
Sorry.
Where is it on Dean Street?
So on the right hand side,
What is he going
as you
down?
walking, as you
Is he walking up?
walking, as you walking
Okay.
up.
Uh-huh.
So you've got the
Is it next to that bakery?
I don't know what bakery. I was on Dean Street the other day and I noticed it as I was walking up the hill. So as
Okay.
I was coming up the quayside, walking up on the right hand side, um, next to I think there's a barber there. There's like a
The mountain shop.
series.
The mountain
There's
shop.
there's a mountain shop.
Okay.
So just there. I can't remember what
Okay.
was there before it, but
Okay.
yeah, it's there. The reason why I mention it is because it's growing, it's scaling, and it's a good thing. There's also this phenomena around debanking, Jeff,
Who?
and
Dean Banking.
no, debanking,
Okay.
um,
What does it mean?
and basically it's 140,000 SMEs, 140,000 were debanked. So that means the bank account was closed down.
That's horrendous. I know I've heard about that. I mean, why? Why do they make that?
Well, if you, I mean, the banks have just generally now, if so, the banks are incredibly regulated, right? But they sort of introduced their own rules and things like that when it comes to customers and know your customer and money laundering and all of these things. But they've sometimes if an individual might not have the ID or might not have the right ID, the business bank account will just get closed down just like that.
Wow.
And it might not just be for ID, but there's lots of cases of that happening. I didn't realize it was that big of a deal. 140,000 SMEs is so the Financial Times reported that. Anyway, coming on to business topic of the week, which I think we want to share with everyone is very much around. Let's share this because it's an interesting one and it's very relevant to what we're discussing and what I'm doing. So it's called cultural competence. Cultural competence is a skill for small businesses, especially in today's diverse and globalized marketplace. Let's explore what it means and how it can benefit your business. So definition of cultural competence is it refers to the ability of individuals and organizations to effectively interact with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. It involves understanding and respecting cultural differences, adapting communication styles, and promoting inclusivity. Why cultural competence matters? Well, culturally competent businesses build strong relationships with customers from various backgrounds. Understanding cultural nuances helps tailor products and services. Workplace harmony, culturally competent workplace fosters collaboration among employees with different cultural perspectives. It reduces misunderstanding and conflict. Market expansion, so cultural competence opens doors to new markets. Businesses that appreciate cultural diversity can effectively reach diverse customer segments. So me coming to Saudi and Saudi coming to Newcastle in the northeast and Tees Valley, it's all about understanding different cultures, Jeff. When you're employing people, having a diverse workforce, you understand people from different nations, different religions, different backgrounds. So some practical steps for developing cultural competence. Well, education, provide cultural awareness for training for employees, teach them about different customs, traditions, and communication styles, language skills, encourage employees to learn basic phrases in other languages, This shows respect and facilitates communication, inclusive policies, develop policies that promote diversity and inclusion, consider flexible working arrangements to accommodate cultural practices, community engagement, participate in local cultural events and support community initiatives, build connections with diverse groups, cross-cultural networking, attend industry events and connect with professionals from different backgrounds, learn from their experiences, the benefits of cultural competence for small businesses. So culturally competent businesses provide personalized services leading to satisfied customers, improved employee morale, inclusive workplaces, boost employee morale and productivity, innovation and creativity, diverse perspectives drive innovation and creativity, risk mitigation, cultural competence minimizes risks of miscommunication or unintentional offense. So there's examples of cultural competence. Imagine a small restaurant in a multicultural neighborhood. The owner invests in cultural competence training for the staff. Result, the restaurant staff can communicate effectively with customers from various backgrounds. I mean, Jeff, when you go to, I don't know about you, but certainly whenever we go anywhere in the world, we'll make an effort to have a conversation in whatever language it is, you know, whether you're in France or whether you're in Spain or whether you're in the Middle East or whether you're in Turkey or wherever it is. It's just a nice thing to do, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. I think you know, the fact that so many nations it's different groups of people, different tribes, different ways of life, like as you said, language. I think it's so intriguing, and I think that you probably see it a lot more in the Middle East. Probably, you know, when you go to the Middle East, Ammar, well, when I go to Dubai, when I see so many diverse cultures, I've never ever experienced an ounce of racism or an ounce of maybe I think they're culturally a bit more. What's the word that you just used? Culturally, what was the topic about? Sorry,
competence.
Yeah, I think they are culturally more competent in the Middle East than what we are here. Maybe it's in the UK because everyone seems to get along so well with each other. There doesn't seem to be any type of cultural issues or religious issues or color issues at all. I feel that there, and there's obviously we know about the history of UK and what we've experienced ourselves. So maybe it's cultural competence is a really important word. Maybe it's something that everyone should be built with a lot better in today's society, not just business, but maybe it should be taught in schools and things like that.
Yeah, but I think it should. There's no question about that. I think that better, broader understanding, because what comes with cultural competence or understanding, I love listening to people and hearing from people, regardless of whatever culture there is or what religion they're from, you know, and it's not, and even people who come from different places. So within the UK, I like listening and hearing, you know, there's surprising differences even within the whole of the Northeast. You know, there's the way things are pronounced, or the background to Middlesbrough or Redcar or, you know, Hartlepool or Newcastle and Sunderland. You know, yes, there's the football rivalry, but there's a range of other aspects and elements. South Shields has its own identity and always has, and Northumberland and North Tyneside, you know, Whitley Bay and Tynemouth. So even at that level, geographical level, it's really interesting, I think. And it's you know, talking to someone in their own language or having an appreciation of, you know, I go to the Mandir and I go to the Gurdwara and I go to the mosque and I go to, you know, churches and I go to these places and spaces. and I sit there and I'm really interested in, out of respect, really interested in what they do and how they do it. There's the Guru Gobind Singh, and the book that is the basis of the Sikh religion. Right? Every religion, primarily, not every religion, but the vast majority of mainstream religions have a book. But the Sikh religion, someone is with that book 24/7, Jalf.
Mhm.
So the actual book itself, someone is with the book 24 hours a day.
Wherever sacred place it's kept.
Yeah.
And what's the thinking behind that?
Well,
It's the original book, is it, Ammar? The original book?
Well, no, I'm just saying that each of the Gurdwaras have the book.
Okay.
And there'll be someone there, looking after the book, reading it, praying from it, praying to it. Obviously, well, it's not obvious, but I'd probably go and need to learn a little bit more. But those type of things, and going into the mandir, lighting a candle, those type of things. It's light. Candles have historically had a significant religious influence and meaning across various religions. In Christianity and Catholicism, lighting a candle for somebody is something that you do in memory of them. Is what happens in churches and spaces and places like that. So anyway, cultural competence. So talking about cultural competence and coming back to Saudi, Roshan is a PIF company, construction company, and they're the ones who built this mall yesterday where I was at, and I met them at the exhibition alongside the Saudi contracting authority, who's responsible for all of the contracts and things like that. But the mall, if you're sat there, even me, before I'd come last year, had a perception of Saudi, and I never compared it in my mind to Dubai, right? You wouldn't think of Saudi and Dubai at all. Yet having come here, I feel more comfortable here, right? I'm jumping in Ubers here. I'm jumping in an Uber just the same way as I would in the UK. It's a struggle sometimes in Saudi. You probably wouldn't, whatever it is. But even the familiarity of this place, and that, people would ignorantly go, well, you're Asian, you're brown, you should fit in there. It's not quite true. Yeah, that's not true. No, but I'm just sharing that openly.
Yeah.
It's just like I'd struggle in Bangladesh or wherever, is where I'd possibly struggle as well. But that's because my perception of it, ignorantly, is a bit different. So having come here, and the point that I'm making, and the point that I want to come on to make is from a business perspective, now's the time to be in Saudi. But you do need, like anywhere you go, you need a tour guide, you need someone to hold your hand. And our business partners here, they're amazing at that. And it's and they're so good at supporting, doing that. And the amount of activity here is overwhelming. But the food, the social elements on an evening, families are out, individuals are out eating, sort of enjoying tea, coffee, the very best of cuisine, the very best of shopping. It's got access to everything everywhere. But then there's the old, last time, and I'm going to go back to those markets, you've got like frankincense and myrrh, and these historic type of substances that have existed throughout time. If you remember the three wise men, you know, they took frankincense, myrrh, and what was the third one, Jeff?
I really can't remember, but what I might probably need to explain what they are, because to be honest, I can't remember. Frankincense is obviously something to do with nice smells, is it?
Frankincense, yeah. So I'm trying to remember what the third one is. That's shocking, because it's like the three wise men went to go and see the prophet on the birth, and all originates from here. The three wise men were from Arabia. You know, they were Arabic. I think
they were more around Bethlehem, though, weren't they? Which is
no, of course they were, but so the three wise men, or Magi, as they were known, whose names were Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar, traveled a far distance. They traveled a far distance, Jeff. So they weren't from Bethlehem. It was gold. Was what it was. You know, to pay homage to Christ, they brought with them fine gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
What myrrh? What
myrrh? Yeah, the three kings is what they were known as, and frankincense and myrrh. Frankincense is something you can chew here, I believe, as I understand it. So frankincense, resins, natural tea sap, it's gum. In the chew. And myrrh is the scent. But the piles of it were just amazing, you know, as in fresh. It's obviously farmed here. And all of the products, that's the other thing with the food. The food and everything here is of the best quality. You know, whatever you're eating.
Is there a lot of farming in Saudi?
Is there a lot of what?
There are a lot of farming.
Yeah. I mean, it's nomadic originally. They were all tribes. So it's, you know, the tribes went round the Red Sea is what it was, and the Sinai, as it was called. So you've got tribes that, you know, moved from north of Saudi into Israel, across to Egypt, you know, so all of those or Palestine or whatever it was geographically, but on the shopping, the shops, you know, the quality of everything, honestly, is amazing. So anybody thinking about doing business, they need to think about doing business here. The demand is huge for everything and for anything. We met a couple of businesses from the Northeast. One was a lock. They made specialist locks, is what they'd done. And the other one was a manufacturing organization who made forklift truck attachments, is what they did. And they're both from the Northeast, but they're not connected out. So they're being brought here by the Department for Business and Trade.
Your only Bollywood station in Newcastle. Spice FM 98.8 FM.
When you get
Labour's
back.
apologised to the voters of Rochdale for not fielding a candidate after the by-election triumph by